Hi guys, Miss Andale here. I hope you're having a really great week. This week in the instructor lecture, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about your assignment for the week and about play reading. Up to now, we have had rather short readings, if I'm being honest, and this one is a very lengthy assignment. So when you read a full-length play, it requires quite a bit of time. Now, to assist you in that reading, I have provided 2 links to the first and second acts of a play production of this particular play, and I hope that you've already watched it, and my hope is that for those of you who are visual, that you can read along in your script or just watch the play itself. I think it's wonderful to see what the intention of the author was. Remember, people write plays for audiences. They write plays for performance. They don't write plays to be read. There are a few plays that are called closet dramas. Closet dramas are written to be read, not performed. But those are few and far between because the genre plays is meant for the stage, right? So that's why I included these performances, the Act 1 and Act 2 links for you so you can see visually how it might be performed on stage. So in your response, what might be useful is to discuss the differences, what you noticed when you were actually watching the scenes, what stood out to you that might not have stood out to you. Now, when plays have been assigned to me, or when I have assigned plays to students, I personally tell them what I do. In my first reading of a play, I only read the dialogue. And I don't read all of the other secondary information, the notes by the author or the notes by the director, because it tends to bog me down personally. And if you can read all that and engage in the dialogue, that's great. But for me, I can picture things a lot better when I can hear the dialogue, when I see the dialogue going consistently and smoothly. So one note I often give to students is just read the dialogue and see if that helps you flow through the play better. We're having another play assignment next week, so get ready for that, okay? So we'll get used to reading plays and reading them quickly. Another thing I'm going to say, because I'm requiring you to find direct quotes from this play, one thing that I do is I underline as I go. So if there's something that stands out to you, something that's powerful or meaningful, something that has to do with the Victorian period, something that you think, oh my gosh, there's more to this line. Just like you've been doing in the poetry we've read and the prose that we've read, you'll do in the plays. Just underline what stands out to you, what you think, oh my gosh, this is profound, or oh, this has a double meaning, or I really like what this has to say. This reminds me of the predicament of the children in the poetry that we read, or if it ties to anything else. So as you're listening to the play, make sure that you're engaged and you're underlining things that stand out to you. Wilde is a brilliant writer, and he's funny, but a lot of the things he says are both funny and a criticism or commentary about society at that time. So beware of that. And just because he's a humorist, and just because there are many elements, there are many things in his play that will make you laugh, doesn't mean that he's not saying very serious things. Don't be deceived by the humor of that piece. All right, so in your response, in your essay response, what you'll need to do is have an introduction and then discuss the play itself. Keep your summaries limited. A summary tells me what the play is about. Well, I already know what the play is about. You want to tell us a little bit about the summary, or perhaps the scenes that you want to discuss to remind us, but you're not going to write an essay that tells me exactly what the play was about. That doesn't say anything. So you're going to take whatever summary you tell me should be based on what you're going to analyze, what pieces stood out to you and why. So think about that as you're reading your play. Be sure that you're not just using the first of the play in your essay. It needs to be clear that you have read and watched the entire thing, and that you have isolated certain moments that stand out to you personally. I said personally, but as usual, you're going to find some common theme that you want to discuss from the play. Find how certain moments to you stand out, certain things he seems to be criticizing or critiquing or making a commentary about. What kinds of thematic material use that? And then think to yourself, what 3 scenes detail this? And make sure it's clear that you've read the whole piece. So I would, if it were me, I would find a scene toward the beginning, toward the middle, and the end, if possible, and use those to discuss in the major part of your paper. Remember, this paper is worth more points. I've told you here, 100 points. It's worth double. And that's why it's 2 to 3 pages in length. So those are mandated for you this week. The only other assignment you have this week is watching this instructor video and then answering the discussion board questions on this video. Okay, so I want you to think about mainly this play. That's a huge chunk in a week to consider on its own. This is enough for the week. So I say that because next week too, as I may have mentioned already, you're having another play, and most likely there will be another one in the future that you'll read too before the end of the semester. So learn now. How do I get through this? How do I engage in this play? And I think a great idea is watching the stage play and underlining as you go in your text, seeing what choices they make, and hearing the laughter of the audience in that theatrical production can be useful too, because sometimes in the language differences, we might think, what does that mean? But you know it's funny if people are laughing about it, right, in the crowd. So the other thing I want to talk to you is kind of serious, and I haven't known how to broach this topic with you, but everybody needs to be on the same page about this particular topic, and it's plagiarism. I have already found a handful of instances of students plagiarizing on their essays, and I guess I need to detail what plagiarism is. Plagiarism is a serious offense. You can get kicked out of this class, and you will get kicked out of this class with an F grade for plagiarism. And it's very, very important, guys, that you understand what is not allowable. You cannot go out on the internet and find a source and copy and paste word for word information from somebody else's material and put that in your piece and call it your own. That's plagiarizing. By the way, I know this isn't the class to do this. I usually tell it in a research class, but they can strip your degrees from you for plagiarizing. When you take somebody else's words and you put them into your essay as if they were your own words, that's plagiarizing. I don't know how many of you have had a Comp 2 class and studied research yet, but you know that whenever you take something word for word or even paraphrase that's not your own thoughts, you have to give credit. You have to cite the source in your paper. Okay, so I want your thoughts. I don't want other people's thoughts. I want what you have to say about this piece. I want to hear what you found in this piece of interest. I want to hear what you thought was an interesting theme or a discussion about a particular topic. And then I want to know what lines you thought were interesting. Remember, I'm much more concerned with the way you process. I could go online and read somebody else's anytime, somebody else's work on this topic. Okay, you cannot do that. And consider this your first and last warning. After that, I will be forced to kick you out of the class, all right? And you will be reported to academic affairs. And I hate to do this. I hate to say this. But some people, I think, just never have been told what plagiarism is. You know, in research class, we tell people if you take three or more words from somebody else's, and they're in the same order they were in the original source, and you don't put direct quotes around it, it's plagiarism. That's how serious they are about it. I've had people call me from one particular student from OU got permanently kicked out of his program for plagiarism. And he said, Ms. Shandell, I didn't copy pages. I just copied a line or two from a source and didn't properly cite it. He was kicked out permanently from the program, had to change his major. It's a very serious offense. And so don't do that. I have no problem. I actually recommend, if you don't have a clue what something's about, go see what other people are saying about it. Go see what somebody else has said. But here's the thing. You can read other people's ideas to help you inform your own, to help you think, oh yeah, okay, so I'll look for that. Let me see what else is. I get it. It comes together sometimes easier when you do that. But don't use other people's works. I don't care what it is. Do not use other people's works. You write this. You write this essay. You don't need other people's input here, okay? So yes, if you need some background or want to read a little bit about what other people have said about something, that's fine. But don't take pieces, lines, sentences, paragraphs, God forbid, pages that are not your own and call it your own, okay? So I need to know, and in the discussion board, I'm going to ask you to sign a statement about plagiarism. And it's a very serious offense, guys. I can't say enough to you about it. But listen, I hope you have a great time reading this. Again, that's the only assignment I'm giving you this week. Next week, too, you're going to have a play assignment, all right? So allow yourself to enjoy this. You know, we go to the movies a lot these days. Well, this is what people did for the movies back in their day, is they went to see plays. And people still do that. A lot of people still go to plays today. But this was considered like a movie house. A lot of people went to the plays to the theater to be entertained. Like we go to movie theaters on the weekends or whenever you go to a movie theater. Anyway, I hope you're having a great week, and I hope you have a great weekend. And I will see you next week and talk to you a little bit next week. All right, we're almost through. Don't give up. Hang in there, people. All right, bye.